Blue Rare. Blue Rare steak is cooked for less than 2 minutes total. The outside is seared quickly at extremely high heat. The inside remains completely raw and cold. The internal temperature never exceeds 115 degrees Fahrenheit. It is called blue in France because the raw beef has a faint bluish tint before cooking. French butchers developed this style for customers who wanted maximum flavor from the meat itself without heat altering the protein structure. Most American steakhouses will cook it but won't recommend it. Ordering Blue Rare in a chain restaurant is a reliable way to make a server visibly uncomfortable. Rare. A rare steak reaches an internal temperature of 125 degrees Fahrenheit. The outside is seared and brown. The inside is red, soft, and warm, but not hot. Most serious steak eaters consider rare the minimum acceptable doneness for a quality cut. The Maillard reaction, the chemical process that creates the brown crust, requires surface temperatures above 280 degrees. The crust and the raw interior exist simultaneously because heat moves slowly through dense muscle tissue. A properly rare steak is not undercooked. It is precisely cooked to a specific temperature that preserves moisture and texture that higher heat destroys permanently. Medium rare. Medium rare is the most ordered steak doneness in the world, and every professional chef will tell you it is correct. Internal temperature of 130 to 135 degrees Fahrenheit. The center is pink, warm, and slightly firm. The fat has begun to render, releasing flavor into the meat. The muscle fibers are relaxed enough to be tender, but not yet tightened by overcooking. When a steakhouse asks how you want your steak and you say medium rare, the kitchen takes you seriously. When you say well done, the kitchen sends out whichever steak has been sitting longest. This is not a secret. Medium. Medium steak reaches 140 to 145 degrees internally. The pink center is smaller and the meat is firmer throughout. For cuts with significant fat marbling like ribeye, medium can actually be preferable to medium rare because the extra heat renders more of the intramuscular fat, distributing flavor through the entire cut. This is why some experienced steak eaters order high-grade Wagyu at medium rather than medium rare. The rules about doneness are general guidelines. The exception is always the quality and cut of the specific piece of meat on the plate. Well done. Ordering a well-done steak in a fine dining restaurant is a statement. The chef will cook it. They will not be happy about it. Internal temperature above 160 degrees means all pink is gone. The juices have largely evaporated and the muscle fibers have contracted fully. The result is a drier, firmer piece of meat. Well done became associated with people who distrust undercooked food, which is a reasonable concern with ground beef, but largely unnecessary with whole muscle cuts. The debate between chefs and well-done customers has never been resolved and shows no signs of progress. Tartare. Tartare is completely raw beef, finely chopped or ground, mixed with capers, onions, mustard, Worcestershire sauce, and a raw egg yolk on top. It has been eaten in France since at least the 19th century. The name comes from a legend that Mongol warriors under Genghis Khan tenderized raw meat under their saddles while riding. Food historians consider this story almost certainly false. What is true is that steak tartare requires the freshest possible beef, handled under strict conditions. Every tartare you have eaten in a reputable restaurant was prepared safely. Everyone that made someone sick was not. Surf and turf. Surf and turf, steak paired with lobster or shrimp on the same plate, became an American restaurant staple in the 1960s when both beef and seafood were simultaneously expensive enough to signal luxury, but affordable enough for a special occasion dinner. The combination has no culinary logic. Steak and lobster do not enhance each other. The pairing is purely a status signal. Ordering surf and turf communicated that you could afford both and chose not to choose. It became the default anniversary dinner at American steakhouses and has remained there for 60 years entirely on the strength of that original message. Steak Frites. Steak Frites, steak with French fries, is the national dish of Belgium, despite being most associated with French bistro cooking. The combination became standardized in Parisian bistros in the late 19th century as a simple, affordable meal that working-class customers could eat quickly. A thin steak, usually hanger or skirt, cooked fast at high heat, served with a pile of fries and a simple sauce, béarnaise, peppercorn, or butter. The dish spread globally through French culinary influence and is now on menus from Buenos Aires to Tokyo. The simplest possible combination of protein and starch became one of the most replicated meals in the world.